Yeah.
If my babysitter calls, maybe you should listen. Should pick up the phone in case of any emergencies and babysitter calls.
Maybe we'll
Thank you all so much for coming in the middle of the week, in the middle of your busy lives. I'm really excited to get to share with y'all what my life has been like for the last 4 or 5 months almost. Everyone I talk to from college, from high school, from previous jobs, I just can't help but say when they say, how are you doing? You know, the typical, they're expecting fine. And I just have to say this has been the best year of my life by far. I've had a wonderful life leading up to this, so it's not like I was like living in a dungeon until January 2014, but just things have really been clicking for me this year. In January, my whole extended family and I began clean eating via the Daniel Plan, a book by Rick Warren, and we learned just how and why as a Christian it was important to eat healthy as an act of obedience. And then it was so great to have our little core group, our family, just texting each other. Oh, I just had this for breakfast. It was so good. You need to try this tomorrow. Or I just had this snack. I never thought I would like this. I loved it. But as the winter wore on, and my husband would be gone on business trips, and I have 2 kids, and I teach a little overtime, actually, a little Christian, I was just like a little bit exhausted of washing, chopping, cooking, all of these really clean, delicious meals. So I was looking for something to supplement because I didn't want to just run through Chick-fil-A. Even though we think that's such a healthy restaurant because it's chicken, it's not beef, it's still coated in grease and oil, and then the bread is basically cake. And so, thank you, Chick-fil-A, but no thank you. So this year, I also made a few resolutions that I've never been able to keep. One was to be more social, because I've gotten so introverted with my family and my job, which is wonderful, but I was kind of losing who I was, which is this outgoing person that loves to connect with people. Another one was to be more healthy. I had gone to the doctor, and I just was sure I had a tumor in my brain or something serious because I felt like blah. He ran every blood test. They did x-rays. They sent things off to labs. And praise the Lord, but unfortunately, because I felt like a big idiot, nothing was wrong with me. And he said, Jenny, the problem is you are putting poison in your body. You are not taking care of yourself. I was drinking 2 to 3 shots of espresso a day. There would have been no way I could come up here after working all day today and fixing supper for my children. It just would not have been an option. I couldn't get through Saturdays and Sundays without at least a nap in each afternoon. Social life was non-existent because I didn't have the energy at all. And I was taking about 4 to 6 ibuprofen a day. I had ibuprofen in my desk, in my car, in my bedside table, and in my kitchen. And I was pretty miserable. I just was aching all the time and had headaches and just never felt like Jenny. So the doctor told me, you've got to change your diet. And that's how the Daniel Plan of Eating Clean really started helping me. But like I said, I was looking for a supplement, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys with how Arbonne really just came along and just took me by the hand and was like, here you go. Here is the support you've been needing. Because unfortunately, although I work and now I can pay my bills, I cannot pay a chef to come in and cook all the meals for me. But Arbonne has really helped me there. A few things that have just, some statements that have come into my mind because I'll analyze, is what I'm doing the right thing? Am I making the right choices? And some arguments that I've heard from people, and I'll just go right back to them, is this. Well, I just want to live life to the full, and I just want to have those cinnamon rolls and that bacon. I just feel like I'm depriving myself if I don't. I mean, my whole family has always done that, and they they live for forever. Don't get the phrase YOLO twisted, which is you only live once. That's right, you only live once, so take care of yourself. Don't just throw hazard and good sense and caution to the wind. And also, our ancestors, or even our parents, had a completely different diet. They didn't have all of the extra additives that we have today. And they had a little bit more assurance that there might be some social security on down the road that could take care of them if they hadn't taken care of themselves. But we can no longer just depend on the government to keep us healthy and keep us alive and just support us. Another thing that let me tell you, I am a tightwad. Big time. And I pride myself on it. I don't want to tell anybody if I didn't buy something on half of half, or at a garage sale, or at a thrift store. So I was just like, golly, I just eating organic and clean. It is so expensive. But I started thinking, how much do I pay for my car so I can have my phone come through my car, and so I can have an automatic door that goes up in the back and heated seats? Is that as important as what I'm putting in my body? How much do I spend on fast-speed internet and 2,000 TV channels that I don't have time to watch? Is that as important as what I'm putting in my body? How much do I pay on new curtains or new bedspreads or new towels so I can have a whole set? Is that as important as what I put in my body? No. So I started realizing we've got to start redirecting our money to what really matters. So anyways, I'm going to tell you a few little things today that the food industry doesn't want us to know. The people who don't have any desire in eating healthy, they don't want to hear that. You obviously aren't that person and you wouldn't be here. So let me just fill you in a little bit on what I've learned. The things that you are eating more than likely are dangerous. The things that I was raised on, that my precious parents lovingly provided for me, that are dangerous for us, that we have not known about. And how the solutions can really set you free from fatigue and bloatedness and crankiness and aches and pains. The first great news is that you don't have to just starve yourself and eat less. I was talking to a dietitian, and she said you could literally eat, I weigh 140, you could literally eat 140 pounds of vegetables a day and you would not gain weight. You would just be getting healthier. You can eat as much as you want of these clean foods, and you will be healthy. You will not be starving yourself through this clean eating process. Another really neat thing that I've learned, I grew up as an athlete, and I just thought, I can eat as much as my dad, because I got basketball practice, track practice, softball practice, and let me tell you, I do. I eat as much as my dad and more than my husband, and it is a sight to behold. I eat like a cave woman. And I just thought, well, I can exercise it off. Well, obviously I don't have time for that anymore. I'm at work instead of playing basketball. And 80% of how we look is what we're eating. It's all about nutrition. 10% is genetics that we just are thankful that the Lord gave us, or maybe not so thankful, but the other 10% is fitness, making sure that your heart is getting elevated, your heart rate is elevated for a certain amount of time. But 80% is nutrition. And that is such great news to me because I'm really lazy. I liked basketball when people were cheering for me. I don't like exercising because nobody's cheering for me. If anybody saw me doing yoga and Pilates or trying to run, they would call 911 because it is atrocious. So I'm really excited about the fact that nutrition is 80%. Y'all come on in. And another thing that's kind of been on my mind is don't just feed your tongue, Jenny. Don't just feed your tongue. Because a lot of times when we're feeding our tongue, we're poisoning the rest of our bodies. Just like the Bible says, if you can control your tongue, you can control your whole body. It's the same thing. If you contain your tongue, nutrition-wise, you can control your whole body. And it's really ridiculous that I do a little thing once and not what these things need, and all this in here that's keeping me alive needs, and this that remembers to pick up my kids from daycare and things like that. And the food that we eat is either poisoning us or it is helping us to live. So instead of living just for the next meal, which is what my life has always been about, as I'm eating breakfast, I think, what do I need to be doing to get ready for lunch? And as I'm eating supper, I think, are we going to have enough leftovers for lunch tomorrow, or am I going to have to cook again? But we need to be living so that we can live life. So, do you have any of these symptoms? Probably if you're an American, you are. Because let me just say, the rest of the world doesn't eat like us, and the rest of the world doesn't have the health problems that we have. If they have health problems because of food, it's because they don't have enough. We are the one country that has so much food and so much disease from food. It's not a lack of food that's our problem, it's an excess of food. Anyway, so here are some of the symptoms that I have. I know fatigue, depression, because when you're tired all the time, you feel pretty down and out. And you're missing out on life. Disturbed sleep, crazy dreams, mood swings. My sister is here, she knows. Joint pain. I was diagnosed with arthritis at the age of 4. I've lived with pain. I thought that was normal. Anxiety, slow metabolism, slow digestion, aching muscles, and low libido. And most of us could say, yeah, I've got this or that, or maybe all of them except one or two, actually. And here are just a few statistics thinking of what our culture is, because you are going against culture by being here. You are that salmon that's swimming upstream. And people will try to make you feel like you are crazy because they don't want to feel guilty about the cinnamon roll wrapped with bacon and dipped in cheese that they just ate for breakfast. They don't want to feel guilty about that, and you make them feel that way, or at least a little bit convicted when they see you making good choices. But in our day today, 1 in 2 people will have cancer. In the 50s, it was 1 in 50. So if you go 64 years, we've gone from 1 in 50 having cancer to 1 in 2. So that's 1 spouse, that's 1 child, because the average family has 2 children. And that's just not something that I want to be a part of. I'm proud to be an American, but I don't want to get cancer right along with everybody else. Another thing, 1 in 3 children born after 2000, which both of my children were, I almost said all of my children, because my dog was born after 2000, will develop diabetes. 1 in 3. I only have 2, so what does that mean for me? The average American today has consumed more sugar than their grandparents did in their entire lifetime. Just because we haven't poured into everything that is on the shelves at most restaurants, at most grocery stores. Even babies are born today with traces of toxins in their bodies, because even though doctors are telling women you've got to be eating right, that's the time, I know for me, that I was just like, whatever, I'm just trying to survive, I'm eating whatever I want. And I would have chocolate shake and biscuits. And biscuits and gravy and cheddar peppers before lunch on an average day when I was pregnant. I just really lost my mind while I was pregnant. I just want to confess that to you guys right now. Anyways, but there's no doubt about it. The food that we're buying is not really food. It's a ton of sugar that's packaged to look like food, and it doesn't even come from the things that grow naturally on our planet. Most of the foods. Okay, so I want you to imagine we're in our grocery store, and we've got our little buggy, and I know as a child I used to love to play this, and it's kind of fun whenever I don't have my kids with me to go grocery shopping, because I'm like a big girl and I can get my own groceries. Well, I want you to imagine that with me, that we're in the store and we're going to put things in our basket, and there are things we are not going to put in our basket. The 10 things we're not going to put in our basket are processed foods. These are foods that are loaded with preservatives so that they can last on that shelf. When you look at your expiration date, I know for me, I'm like, oh, good, I got 2 years to eat this. That's not a good thing, though. That's really not a good thing. The dyes that are in it to make it look more appealing, that's not what we need to be eating. Artificial sweeteners that we think, it's okay, it's not real sugar. Right, it's just a totally made-up chemical that a scientist made to trick us so we would think we were getting healthier. And fillers so that we'll feel more full when we eat it. A good rule of thumb is if you can't pronounce it, your body won't know what to do with it, and it's full of toxins. Another thing that I read from the Daniel Plan is if it grew and it was a plant, that's okay. If it was made in a plant, that's not okay. So you think about that word plant. Originally, it's something that was growing. Most of the foods that I was eating before 2014 January were made in a plant and put in little boxes and plastic baggies with tons of stuff that would let it last for 2 years in my kitchen. The other thing that we're not putting in our baggie today is dairy, which is a big shock for most of us. I've never really liked milk, so this wasn't hard for me. But I love cheese, or I did love cheese. I had never even been a big butter person until about 2 years ago, and I really got into some butter. But, so this was really hard for me. I just thought, what? I can't have cheese, I can't have butter. The milk industry, the milk production of the United States, they are so financially wrapped up into all health campaigns. It's such a huge business that we are brainwashed to think that we've got to have milk to have calcium. Most of the calcium in milk you can't even absorb because you need, I think it's magnesium, you need another source, another nutrient that's not in milk. So you probably get about 25% of the calcium from milk. And what milk does is it upsets your pH level. When I think of pH level, I think of a pool because I used to be a lifeguard. We would always have to check that level of the chlorine. Well, that's what our bodies are. We have foods that are putting acid in our bodies, or we have foods that are making us alkaline. And we want our pH to either be right in the middle or alkaline. And when we're putting dairy in us, dairy inflames our body, which is where the majority of diseases come from, heart disease, diabetes, cancer. And we are putting mucuses in our bodies that are not normal. And if you think about it, no other animal, except for humans, eats another mammal's milk. And they don't do it after infancy. So it's like, I understand that we're the top of the food chain as humans and we just get what we can. But it's really not something that we actually need. But the milk business has made us think that it is something that we need. Countries that have the highest dairy consumption also have the highest rates of breast cancer and osteoporosis. We're always told we need milk for strong bones. No, milk inflames, which hurts my arthritis, or if you have fibromyalgia, and it actually is hurting your bones because you don't have the magnesium. I wish I could think of that exact nutrient that you need to have with your calcium to build your bones. And when you're just getting the 25% from calcium, it actually starts eating away at your bones because it's looking for more. The other thing we're not putting in our baggie is refined sugars or artificial sweeteners. So anything that's just a white little powder is probably a chemical, okay? Again, think of a plant. Has white powder ever shot up out of a farmer's field? No, okay? It was made over here in the plant, okay? And a lot of times scientists have made a lot of money to figure out, ooh, we can make this taste sweet for way less money than if we use real sugar or honey. So let's just make some stuff and make some money and kill the people, okay? Anyways, also, sugar is actually more addictive than cocaine. It feeds the part of your brain that cocaine feeds. And we just keep thinking, ooh, I need some more. It's acidic. Remember our pH. You don't want to be acidic. You want to be neutral or alkaline. Sugar puts us over here. It actually strips our body of nutrients and vitamins. And artificial sweeteners are not even, they're actually detestable to bugs, ants, and roaches, cats, dogs. If you have it out, they don't want it. Why do we? Because we think we can have our cake and eat it too. The other thing that we're not going to put in our buggy is gluten. And I'm telling you, I don't want to be one of those people that just jumps on a bandwagon. So I really try to find out, why is this the case? Because I don't want to just be a follower. But gluten, let me tell you, for the last 2 years, my daughter and I have been gluten-free because we wanted to see if it would help her with her ADHD behavior. And it has been amazing. It has helped her so much. And for a while, people would say to me, "That's just so sad. You're not letting your daughter have the cupcake at this birthday party." I said, "No, it's actually sad for me to give it to her because I know for the next 8 hours she's going to be bouncing off the wall and crying and then laughing and then crying and then laughing and have an emotional roller coaster fiasco." And let me tell you, you will be amazed at the results when you cut gluten out of your body. Gluten is very difficult for our bodies to digest, and it inflames. It inflames the tissue in your gut and the tissue in your brain. Okay, so any gastrointestinal problems you have, gluten is probably at the core. Any any depression or just inability to focus, gluten gives you a fog. I'm not kidding you. My sister, she never knew she was allergic to it either. She just started with us in January, and she used to mock me for being gluten-free with Bella, thinking I was just a little bandwagon rider. But she started in January, and she called me one day, like in February or March, and she said, "Jenny, I just had some gluten for the first time, and I think my head is swelling." She's like, "Does it make your head swell?" I was like,
bubbles in my brain.
Okay, bubbles. Her head was bubbling, not swelling. So you'll just be amazed once you go off of it for just 28 days even. You won't even want to go back, I promise you. And that's the same with cheese. It also causes bloating and the potbelly look. It causes migraines and asthma. And although we don't all have Crohn's disease, which is what originally was why people stayed away from gluten, because they had chronic gastrointestinal problems. No, praise the Lord, we don't have that. But we all have some sensitivity to gluten. And the problem is, y'all, it's not that we just have a little bit. It is loaded in all of the plant-made foods, okay? Gluten comes from wheat. Let me tell you that really quickly. And because I've had people say, "Well, what's wrong with wheat? I mean, that's back in Bible times. You would get your wheat, and Abraham said, go get some wheat, Sarah, and make this man some bread, and blah, blah, blah." The plant that Abraham had was a whole lot different than the plant we have now. We've had scientists that have perfected the art of agriculture to where this plant, if there's a snowstorm that comes, it's going to survive. If there's a whole crop of locusts come through, it's going to survive. Because they've taken the wheat plant that's about this tall, made it about this tall and this wide. And it is just a sturdy little stump. So we're not even talking about the same food. Modern wheat is so different than what our ancestors ate. Another thing is no soy products. Soy, if you were going to get an organic edamame bean, that's one thing. But the soy that we usually eat is the most, I guess just for lack of a better word, the most basal or disgusting portion of the soy that couldn't be used for anything else. They found a way to make it into a little powder and filler, and that's what we eat in most of our foods. So we want to just cut out soy. Soy also contains estrogen, and the more estrogen you have, the more increase of female cancers that you have. It mimics female hormones, and 90% of soy is genetically modified. So again, it's made by scientists and manufactured in a plant. The other thing we're not going to put in our cookies today, no alcohol, which I was raised a Baptist preacher's daughter, so that's not a big issue for me. But let me tell you, that second baby, not that I need alcohol, but that second baby, I really needed caffeine, and that's the other thing we're not going to put in our buggy. So imagine just walking past that coffee aisle. It smells so good. But I'm telling you, that's because we got that dog mentality. Oh, it smells good. I might need that. No, we are wiser. We know. This is addictive. It performs like sugar in the body. It strips you of nutrients. It's not beneficial. Coffee also promotes, remember the pH, an acidic blood, an acidic level in our bodies, and we want to stay neutral. The fourth, we're counting down. So we've got 4 more. Here's number 4 that we're not putting in our body: corn or corn products. Again, corn is something that as humans we have survived on. I think of Pocahontas growing the corn, and it's like that's my sister from years and years ago. How could corn be wrong? Pocahontas would surely not lead us down the wrong path. But again, the corn plant that she was dealing with and the corn plant that scientists have modified, it's not the same. It's a little bitty, controlled, powerful, full of chemicals plant. And 90% of it is genetically modified, like the scientists say. It's highly allergenic. Skin rashes, arthritis, fatigue, nausea, and constant colds come from corn. I'm telling you, it's so crazy. I sing a lot for churches, and every time I need to sing somewhere, I get a cold. And I have been so healthy this entire year. I did a women's conference at the beginning of April. Such a blessing. And then I woke up Monday morning. We've been making fairy houses in our backyard with my daughter. I woke up Monday morning and I had this allergy throat. But let me just tell you, this is the first time in all of 2014 that I have had a raspy throat. And I don't feel like down and dreary. I just sound like I've been smoking out back, but I'm sad for anybody. We're not putting that in our buggies either. For Whole Foods. We've got 3 more things we're not putting in, and then we'll get to the good news. No white potatoes. No white potatoes. It's just like a sugar in our body. It makes our blood sugar levels go up and then crash, and we're hungry. And this was a hard one. This was about like cheese for me. I like potatoes anyway except for raw. And if I needed to, I would eat them raw because I love potatoes. I love them yellow. I love the red ones. I love the little bitty ones. I love the big ones. But you can still have sweet potatoes. I've been telling you no sugar. Sweet potatoes is what we can have, and it's so good. I just made some little hash browns with sweet potatoes this week for my family, and it was like dessert. It was so good. The last 2 things. No pork. Okay? Pork comes from pigs. Did y'all know that? You know what a pig is. I'm sorry. I'm born and raised here, and I'm a Razorback fan. I try to be. It's really hard these days. But pork comes from pigs, y'all. And pork is, basically they say you are what you eat. Well, we are what that pig ate. And that pig could eat a whole tire. They just scavenge. They can eat anything. They also don't sweat. So they can't release off the toxins that they put into their body. So when we eat that bacon, or we eat sausage, or even a lean pork chop, no, we are eating whatever that pig ate, and whatever toxins he ever put in his body, they're still in there. And again, your neighbor's going to say, oh, but you're depriving yourself. This is duck meat wrapped in bacon. Duck meat is good for you. Or, these are jalapenos wrapped in bacon. Jalapenos are a vegetable. I mean, we put bacon in our vegetable dishes, just like that's normal. I mean, I always have grown up, and I loved it. But it was killing us, people. And if you look at our health compared to other countries that don't do pork, you see it is really killing us. It's high in sodium, and we're getting whatever that pig put into him. Okay? So you tell your neighbor, no. I am saying no to that pork. The last thing is no peanuts or peanut butter. And that's because peanuts aren't even a nut. Nuts are good for us, but peanuts are not even a nut. And peanuts are underground, not above ground or on a tree like every nut is. So it's just more susceptible to mold. And because of that, they have to put more chemicals on the crops. And because of that, we get the chemicals. So it's just not worth it. They're highly allergenic. If you go to any elementary, you'll see a table that says peanut-free zone. That needs to be the whole cafeteria, the peanut-free zone. Simply stated, all of these foods I've just listed Think of that pH. They don't keep you neutral. They take you way over here where we don't want to be. We love, like I said, proud to be an American, but we're not going to eat like one. We want to be neutral or slightly alkaline. Okay? So let's review. Inflammation in the body is the number one cause of heart disease, diabetes, and most all diseases can be traced back to inflammation. What did toxins do to your body? This is crazy. The toxins, you hear the word detox and you think, well, I don't have a drinking problem. I don't do drugs. Detox is when you are getting off whatever's harming you. And let me tell you, when you detox and get these toxins from the food out of your body, fat cells begin to go, hey, I don't need to be here anymore. Because if you notice, Americans, I had 2 exchange students from Asia, and they're like, Americans are just so much bigger right here. And I was like, thank you. Go to Burger King. And that is because the toxins that we eat are so dangerous to our vital organs. This is where our vital organs are. Okay, they're not over here. They're not over here. They're right in here. And fat cells form to protect those organs from the toxins. And when we get those toxins out, the fat cells realize, oh, there's no point for me to be here anymore. We're safe. And they flush out as well. Again, like I said, if you were eating 140 pounds of vegetables, you would not have a weight problem. You would not have a health problem. You would be at the peak of health. So it's not that we can't eat a lot of food. It's that we just don't need to be putting these toxins in us. The acidic pH levels, we have viruses, infections, bacteria, and cancers. They all live in this zone. If you put cancer in a petri dish in this zone, it's just going to multiply. We all have damaged cells, cancer cells in our body. If we feed them, they will grow. But if we starve them by giving them alkaline food in a petri dish, cancer cells cannot survive. They cannot survive in an alkaline-rich environment. So let's look over here. And let's invite as many people over as we can. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to put in our shopping cart. And this is where we're going to get to be positive. Okay, as we're walking down the aisle, we're going to get organic fruits and vegetables. Now remember, yes, that's expensive, but so is fill in the blank that we think we have to have. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, what do we have to have? I mean, we are a blessed people. To show our thankfulness, let's take care of the number one thing we have, which is our health. Grass-fed beef, not beef that was fed the corn that I just told you that we don't need to be eating. We also don't need to eat the animals that have been eating that corn. That's just a chemical. Hormone-free chicken and turkeys. I'm telling you, the KFC chicken doesn't even get a chance to grow feathers. They just put them all in these little tubes, let them grow enough, and kill them, and make us the meat. It's not a chicken like we visualize, like E-I-E-I-O, old McDonald had a farm of chickens. No, these are like in these white, sterile environments. Well, no, because when they do, here's the alternative. They'll put them all in a cage and let them grow and really be alive, and then they just sit in their poo-poo all the time. And so to keep them from getting sick, they give them antibiotics. And then we get those antibiotics that we have no need for. And that's why we also want cage-free eggs. We also need to get grass-fed beef for the very same reason. If you have a cow that was allowed to roam in grass and eat, then he has not been stuck in a stall, just pooping right where he is all the time and getting tons of antibiotics put in him to keep him from getting sick. There's this YouTube video, y'all gotta watch it, I wish I could have pulled it up, of cows that had always been in their little stalls, and they let them go, and they literally jumped. Cows, all 4 legs off the ground, jumped and were clicking their little heels. It's so precious. I just love cows. Anyways, so let's not put them in stalls, or at least let's not eat the ones in stalls. Okay, we're also going to put an Arbonne Essentials kit into our buggy, because that is what really changed it for me, you guys. Daniel plan was amazing. Clean eating was amazing. But I work, and I need to bathe my kids, and I need to wash our clothes, and I need to sweep up my dog's hair because she's a yellow lab that's 10 and she sheds a lot. So I have other things to do besides just be a little fresh food chef. And Arbonne really, really helped me with this, the Fit Kit, to be able to have the nutrients that I wasn't always able to get with food. And I replace my breakfast every morning with one of our delicious protein shakes that when you first see it, you're like, oh, it's going to be a chocolate shake. And then it's like, no, it's not really a chocolate shake. But I'm telling you, after about 2 or 3 days, if you were to go and get a McDonald's chocolate shake, you would feel like your throat was closing off, like with mucus and chalk, like this mixture. It's just, ugh. And although you're thinking, oh my gosh, I saw some of those prices when I walked into Whole Foods. That is not the same as Walmart. It's not the same low prices that I'm used to. But think of all the stuff that we put in our buggies as we're just going through the end of the little checkout line. We're like, oh, they have Cheetos, 99 cents for a bag? What we'll give you with Arbonne is a plan that says, nope, this is what you're getting. This is your little checklist you get at the grocery store, and Cheetos is not on there. Not at all. Also, think of the medical co-pays that we have to pay. I have not gone to the doctor since January when I went to get all those blood tests to see what in the world was wrong with me. Not been back. I did call him and tell him, though, and he was like, you are kidding me. He said, I wish I could video you so you could tell my patients this actually works. I was like, well, let me do it. I don't care. Prescriptions. Because when we go to the doctor, they're going to give us some medicine because it's all hooked together. And then we'll need to come back because we get hooked onto that medicine. Fast foods and dining out. When I don't have a plan for what we're going to eat, it's really hard to not just say, all right, let's just run through blah, blah, blah. And we'll even show you what a few places are that you can run through, I don't know, but go into restaurants and get the healthy things out of there whenever you need to. Okay, so just think for a second. How much did I spend? I used to spend about at least $20 a week on caffeine. I would have several candy bars or Nutri-Grain bars that have as much junk in them as candy bars. I would have the occasional 99-cent Cheeto bag. Share it with my children, of course, but we know who is eating the most. Co-pays every time I go to the doctor, medications, and I'm telling you, this lifestyle that I'm about to present to you saves you money while saving your life. And again, just think, what is more important? Decorating my house or going to the beach, but being too sick to even enjoy it because I'm tired and bloated and cranky and achy. Okay, so we're going to buy food and spend less money, save money on medical bills, and we're going to put our money where it benefits us, not where it just pleases our tongue or our eyes or makes us look good to our neighbors. So here's how we're going to do it. What we do and what I can offer for people, and if you have an Arbonne representative, they can do this for you too. We have set up our mentor, Sarah Hines-Wilson. She's an amazing girl, and she just sat down and has come up with grocery lists that take you from the produce section all the way around and tell you this is what you need to get, and here's the menu that's going to go with that. And then here are the recipes that are going to go with that. So we help you take the guesswork out of reading all these labels. Okay, what does non-GMO mean? Not genetically modified, meaning that it wasn't made in the plant. It's from an actual growing plant that has life. It doesn't have soy. It doesn't have gluten. We will tell you the best brands. I've been eating gluten-free for 2 years. I can tell you, do not eat some of these breads. They taste horrible. Eat this bread. It's amazing. Things like that. I don't want you to have to suffer for 2 years through disgusting gluten-free stuff. I can tell you right now what to get, and I tell people all the time in the grocery store that,
cut that out. That is not good. You need to come over here and get this. And they just love for me to tell them what to do, I'm sure. But I do it anyway. And here's what you're getting with the Arbonne Essentials Fit Kit in your grocery cart. You will get 7 different products for about $10 a day. I'm not kidding you. Caroline, can I tell them? Caroline's husband spends about $8 a day at Starbucks. And how is that helping him? Maybe for about an hour and a half, he'll have some energy. My husband was the same way because he's traveling all the time from Nebraska back to Arkansas. And he just lived on Starbucks, lived on it. And now he is caffeine-free because of Arbonne. And he is such a happier, headacheless person. He sleeps so much better. Anyway, I could just go on for days. It has been a miracle worker for our family. But it's not about me, it's about you, and I want people to have the same experiences. Anyway, so in your cart, if you get the Essentials Fit Kit, you're replacing 2 meals. You get breakfast and supper, breakfast and lunch and supper. I just put it wherever I'm the most busy. And sometimes I only have one a day. I'll just have it for breakfast. Every day I have it for breakfast. And then we have the Energy Fizz Sticks that my husband has really, really clung to. They replace your caffeine. They have guarana, which is a plant from Brazil that is a natural little leaf that gives you energy, just like stevia is the little leaf that we can get some good sweet from, okay? Or even coconut. Sometimes you can get coconut sugar. That's another tip for you. Detox tea, I have some for y'all to sample, has been my thing. He gets the fizzers, I get the detox tea because I just love tea. And I used to could only drink sweet tea. I just thought you had to have sweet tea if you were from South Arkansas. And Miss Rita could make it really good. But now if I have sweet tea, it's the same thing. I'm just like, and this detox tea has been wonderful. What it does is it cleans out your liver and your kidneys. And I don't think sweet tea was doing a whole lot for me. Talk about feeding the tongue and poisoning the whole rest of the shebang. The daily fiber boost. I just thought, little TMI here, I don't need fiber. That is not my issue. But when you were detoxing and you were putting 20 grams of vegan protein in your body, it's good to have a little help, a little fiber. And what this does has been amazing, y'all. These two paired together, I used to get hangry, hungry and angry about 9 o'clock. I could eat a dozen eggs for breakfast and 2 pieces of toast at 7 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, I was ready to eat my students. I was like, do y'all have any snacks? Does anybody have their lunch in this classroom? Do you want bonus points? I was obsessed and always hungry. Every other day, I told y'all I teach overtime. Every other day, I don't have a break. And on those days, I can go till 12:59, 1:30, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have only been drinking my detox tea. I haven't even had anything today. And that is not normal for Jenny Rogers because I am an eat-aholic. But these things sustain, and that is so rare, y'all. That is so rare because what we're used to eating that's made in a plant, it just fills you up, makes you feel terrible for about 30 minutes. You need to go lay down. And then about an hour later, I think I can do that again. I think it's time to eat some more of that poison. The Digestion Plus is just a supplement that you take each day. It just boosts your metabolism. It just kind of gets your body in gear, gets it working. And the last thing that we do on the 3rd week of our detox, not on the 1st week, is the 7-day cleanse. And I'm just starting that this week. So we'll let Rhonda tell you all about that because I haven't got a lot of experience with that.
I dreaded it. You do it on the 3rd week. I just finished the first 28 days, and I did. And I thought, oh, this is not going to be something that it tastes good. And it was, you just mix it with 16 ounces of water. And I do mine like half, and then 16 ounces in the morning, 16 ounces in the afternoon. And everything that you gather up in your body stays in your body. And so it gives those heavy leads and those toxins out, and it does a really good job naturally. No cramps, stomach aches, all that stuff. But none of it. I mean, I would do it again next week. I might do it.
And you still eat. You're still eating
Yeah,
Your
you're
life
still
is
eating,
exactly
yeah.
the same that it has been the first
But
2
you're not
weeks.
as hungry that day at all.
Yeah.
You're-
And it's just really like a deep cleaning. You know, like I do my best to clean my house, but every once in a while, I need to bring somebody in and get a good deep cleaning, and that's what this does for us. I don't have, like I said, I know what it does, I just can't tell you what it has done for me yet because I haven't gotten it yet. Anyways, okay, so you've got 2 meals a day. You've got all of your drinks for energy, for detox, and then, of course, just drink water with lemon like it's going out of style. Because let me tell you, that's another thing we are so blessed with. The majority of the world does not have the water that we have, but we're going to go drink a Coke that's depleting our body. We have such a precious resource at our fingertips. We get to bathe in water. People go get drinks out of the river where they just use the bathroom, where that elephant just used the bathroom. I mean, we are so blessed. Anywho, okay, so you get 2 meals a day. You get your drinks. You get your vitamins with your little metabolism boost and digestion. And you're going to get a healthier you. I cannot tell you enough. My sister could tell you how much this has changed my life. Just where literally my mom would come up for the weekends and I would have to go take a nap while she was here. I couldn't even visit with her because I was just always hurting, always tired. I slept probably at least as much as my newborn baby up until, and now he's about to be 2, and I'm finally to where I don't have to sleep as much as him, which is a good thing. The other thing that we do with the Fit Kit is we give you a support group. That was what was so helpful with the Daniel plan, was that my whole family was doing it. We would text each other, here's this. But we have a plan set up to where every day you're going to be getting information. We put you in a little Facebook group, private, so nobody even knows. And you get education, motivation, and tools for this is what you want, and here's why, and here's how to do it, and let me know if you need it. Text me, inbox me, whatever you need. How many of you have ever had a personal trainer? I know I never even have, because just for once a week, it is gobs and gobs of money. We are basically your personal nutritionist for 28 days every day for $10 a day. And we're also, with that $10 a day, giving you 2 meals a day, snacks, and your drinks. So let's check it out. Like I said, I'm imagining that we're pretending grocery store, and we get to the checkout. If you really are wanting to eat clean, please let me help you. Please let whoever's invited you here that cares enough about you, let them help you. It's kind of just like whenever you see a good TV show, you tell people about it at work the next morning. Whenever you watch a good game on TV, you tell everybody about it at work the next morning. This is so much more important than that. This is so much more life-giving, and it just goes on and continues so much. And again, you are just redirecting your finances into your own body instead of into your entertainment or into pride. So you could do just your own 28-day Fit Kit would be about $200 for the month. And then for you and a spouse, we could do it for $450. But the main thing is you just want to look at the items and see what is right for you and talk to a person, because we can work with you personally and with your budget. So just talk to whoever invited you and let us know if we can help you. We've got a few samples that will probably knock your socks off. And we're really sad that a lot of people didn't show up, but we're also really excited that we get all these samples to ourselves. So that there's always a silver lining. I've been trying to teach my daughter to quit whining and play the glad game. When something isn't going the way we want, let's sit here and think for a second, what are 2 things that we're really glad about right now? So we're really glad that those people didn't come, because we get to have more samples. So if you guys want to come up here, what we have are, we've used the protein powder to make these little protein bars. This is almond butter, honey, and our protein powder. And it is like a no-bake chocolate chip cookie. We also put oats in it. So y'all come up here and get some of these, so don't be shy, because I will not leave them up here for very long. I'll start eating them. And then I'll start pouring some little detox teas.